I hope you all had a restful night yesterday and are ready for another exciting day. We'll come back to the second day of the WAPES Asia Pacific Regional Conference 2024. Without further ado, let us get started with our first session of the day. We are now moving on to the first part of the next discussion panel on utilizing digital solutions, digital tools to address the needs of the advantaged groups. To guide us through this session, we are pleased to have another exceptional moderator with us. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Barbora Novotna Svojse, Partnership Officer, WAPES Executive Secretariat. The stage is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good.
I'm really happy to see such a full room. You are such an amazingly resistant audience, I would say. Great to see you. My name is Barbora Novotna, and I have the special honor to be moderating this third session today. So we will spend the whole morning together with our panelists. Don't worry, I will not be speaking alone here. And first of all, I would really like to start with thanking so much Perkeso for hosting this fantastic event. I mean, this conference is a part of the WAPES Asia Pacific Region conferences. It takes place each year in another Asia Pacific WAPES member country. And I think that the standard that Perkeso set up this year will be really very high for the next hosting country. I'm not looking at you, Jerome. No pressure. So thank you so much for the fantastic event or evening yesterday. It was very entertaining. And now let's turn our attention to the present moment, to the workshop that we have, and to the topic of utilizing digital solutions, digital tools to address disadvantaged groups. That's a very important topic, as we all know. Yesterday, we discussed the crucial role of the digital skills and how important they are, especially due to the pervasive nature of the digital solutions everywhere. I mean, everyone is using them. You will find them everywhere. Even in PES, you will find them. And that's the great thing. But, I mean, imagine how much faster it is to do your registration in the public employment services online. No queues, no restricted opening hours. You can do it at any moment. So it's so much easier to use the services or for the PES to provide the services. Or not? What if not? What if it's not for everyone? What about the disadvantaged groups? I mean, they are a very differentiated group and they have very specific needs. So we know that the online services can be very helpful. If you are in the remote area and you would have to make a long way to use the services, or if you are a mother with a small child, that's really the moment when the digital service can help you. Or if you have some health impairment, at that moment the digital services can help to balance this issue, to help you to access the service. So it can be a very good thing. But imagine also the group that we have, the disadvantaged groups. I mean, for some of them, for many reasons, it can be, on the contrary, an obstacle to use the services. You may think about the people who do not have enough of these digital skills that we were mentioning yesterday. You may think about the people who do not have access to the internet, for example. So hopefully today in our discussions, we will touch upon two things. It will be the digital services which can be provided by the public employment services in order to modernize the way that they are provided and to respond to the needs of the current society. I mean, we have all had COVID. The boost of the digital services is, you really have that everywhere. And we should also mention that it's a very cost-efficient solution for the public employment services. But at the same time, I hope that we will discuss some good solutions how to make these services also accessible for the disadvantaged groups, how to adapt them to their special needs so that they work for their benefit and help them to get better access to cover their needs and utilize the potential of these digital services. So now it's the moment when I stop talking myself, as promised, and I have the very special honor to invite our panelists on the floor. So first, let me please welcome Mrs. Sereyvorlak Hang, the Deputy Director General of NEA Cambodia. Cambodian PES is a very influential member of the WAPES network, and they have introduced a comprehensive range of the digital services. Thank you, Mrs. Hang. And the second panelist for this part of the session will be Dato Professor Dr. Logeswaran. I hope that I have not violated too much the name. Sorry for that. Dean of the Faculty of the Computing and Digital Technology of the HELP University. Hello. Thank you so much for having you, and without further ado, we are listening to you. The floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello. Can I have the slide? Very good morning to His and Her Excellency, local and international delegates, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sereyvorlak Hang, representing National Employment Agency from Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training in Cambodia. It is my great pleasure to come up here and present on the topic which talk about using digital technology to address disadvantaged groups. This is a very hot topic, I think. I am going to talk about the overview of Cambodia Public Employment Services, using digital technology to address disadvantaged groups, challenges for moving forward to digital the services, and our future development plan. Cambodia Public Employment Service, let's talk about the NDA here. It stands for National Employment Agency. It is the only government institute that provides public employment service. We focus on two main services. First one is employment service, registration for job matching, collect and post vacancy, organize employment forum and career fair. Another one is LMI, labor market information, collecting, compiling, analyzing, producing, and disseminate information on the labor market. Our target group are employers or stakeholders, job seekers, and education and training provider. NDA joined WAPES in 2023. There are 14 job centers and 5 mobile job centers. Why it is called mobile job centers? Because they are mobile. Yes, and as I have shown in the slide, you see the bus. It is like the tourist car or bus, something like that, but it is, we call mobile job centers. The 14 job centers and 5 mobile job centers all across the country. You can see in the map, there are 14, yes, and the difference between mobile job center and normal job centers are because we created in the vision to bring the service to the door of the customer. It's faster, it can, actually they are doing the same, the exact same job as the normal job centers, but it also can go to access to the rural area, access to where the normal job centers cannot get into. And I think it's also facilitate to the disadvantaged group as well, because some, they cannot go directly to our normal job centers. And you can see this is the inside of the bus, inside of the mobile job center. There is an office. This is a photo of our Minister of Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training. Inside, we design as the office that we can disseminate the information about the employment. We can explain, we can get the CV, and also we can have the interview inside that mobile job center as well. And to bring the service to the local and public, provide job announcement, job registration, provide career guidance and career advisory, conduct and support the other job center to conducting the career event. This is just the 3 kinds that we do the service delivery, like printing materials. You can see that banner, A-board, extend, poster, leaflet, something like that. And the traditional one, we still keep doing it on newspaper, TV, radio, and we focus more on digital, social media like our website, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok nowadays, because it become getting more popular. YouTube, Telegram groups, LED billboards, and our job search mobile app. Oh, sorry. Yes, just to show on the job search scans, we have in App Store and Google Play. This is just to show the website, Facebook app. Now I'm going to talk about the key performance indicators. Key performance indicators here, we talking about the 3 points. Actually, it is the indicator to evaluate the performance assessment framework. We talking about the increasing in the number of service user, increasing in the number of staff capacity building, and the decrease in skill mismatch. 3 of these indicators to evaluate the performance assessment framework. And overall, these 3 indicators we get the good percentage is over 90% achievement. And this is the projects that we have been doing with WAPES. The Japan WAPES joint project in Cambodia. We start in 2019, kick-off meeting. It is a phase 1. But from 2020-21, we have unfortunately, we were in the COVID-19 pandemic, so we yes, we just only do the study visit. And 2022-23, this is the projects we have been doing with ILO training and pilot study about the CSS is Customer Satisfaction Survey. It is the feedback from the employers or stakeholder about the service, public employment service, and how we can improve on it as an overall. And the last workshop we do in Siem Reap with about the capacity building on the official staff. This is just a image as overall, as we are job centers. We do the performance assessment framework. We provide the service to our target customer, and then we do the CSS back to our job centers. Actually, this is, I think, we can go through a little bit about our service for three target group. For job seekers, we provide registration, job internship, placement, career, employment counseling, labor market information. Actually, we also provide a pre-employment training course, soft skill, and career guidance. And for the career guidance, before we only provide to the university students, make sure that they know what they want to study. But now we extend into the high school student as well, because this is the vision of our Prime Ministers. He wants us to go deep down into the root of the education, because like in my generation, when I graduate, even I graduate bachelor or even go to master degrees, I don't even know what I want to do for myself. I follow like my friends. My parents just told me to choose this career, choose these major subjects at school. But nowadays, the youngsters are very lucky, not only in Cambodia, I think all over the world, that we take into account and pay much attention to make them understand about their career path, what they should do, and based on the labor market information, they have the basic knowledge or information about the trend of the labor market, which is important to choose and to decide on. Yeah. And we have like pre-employment training, soft skill, make sure that they are ready for to work. We train them to write the CV. We train them for the communication, problem solving, and everything. And for the employer as well, we do the job matching, referral from the job seekers to the employers. And we give them the career fair. Actually, talking about the career fair, in Cambodia, Public Employment Service, we do a national and productivity career fair once a year, which is very big. And more than 100 companies come to join, and around 30K jobs offered during that day. And we have semester career fair. We have provincial career fair that we do at province, career forum that we do at university, companies, monthly, weekly. And also a training provider, we do TOT as well, that training to the trainer. This is the app that we are using, and the job search, career fair, soft skill. And this is I think this kind of thing is very important, especially we can apply it to our disadvantaged group, like using the app. Using digital technology to address disadvantaged group. I think, as I mentioned earlier, the technology is getting, increasingly important. So social media is one of the platform that help everyone, not only the disadvantaged group. We have all kind of social media that all our population can access. And we're talking about e-learning as well, that we do the digital video conferencing, online course, private group teaching to the special disadvantaged group. Actually, disadvantaged group in here, we talk about people with disability, elder people, and even the ethnic minorities. And this one is very new. This is our Ministry of Labor and Vocational Training with Ministry of Telecommunication. They signed the MOU to using the new website, verify.gov. Actually, this is .com, not .ka. This is to verify all the documents, certificates, and everything to put on the platform, to put on the internet. So all the people with disabilities, they don't need to come to the place and take the paper documents that save their time and cost of traveling. We're talking about the challenges for moving forward to digitalize the services. It is no doubt that accessibility and also affordability is the most challenging, because not all the users in the rural area, they can access to the employment service system due to the internet connection, digital literacy, and data privacy, because some people think that when they put their own privacy or data information online, it is not safe for them. Then we need to let them know it is how we work right now, and we keep it as private and very confidential. And difficult engaging user to use the system, operation and maintenance system. The capacity for the app for the web developing skills is limited. Our further development plan, we focus on the website and mobile app. We try to develop LMI function system, improve job seeker employer registration function, improve capacity of the REST API function, server and security between the application and server, learn to discover new and accept the technology as the AI function, and improve the job matching referral function, improve as a whole for the what we can do on the website, and the same thing with the mobile app. And what we want to focus is that also we want to build the capacity building on the IT stuff, because without that, we cannot do develop the any software or digital platform. And Cambodia is lacking of that, to be honest. And before I end my presentation, I just want to add inclusion of the disability group into labor market is very necessary and important, because it can help reduce the dependency on the social benefits and also from the family as a caregiver, because they can go to work. And as the technologies develop, it can enhance the quick sharing of the information, and it's improved the way we live, we work, we learn, and we communicate. And I thank you for today for your attention and very kind listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Hang, for this very comprehensive presentation. That's really interesting to see how many types of services and how many needs you can address with your comprehensive toolbox for your job seekers. And thank you also for raising the challenges which it brings, and we might come back to the challenges maybe later. But first I will, unless there is a burning question from the audience, I will pass the floor to that of Professor Logeswaran again, the violation. And the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Moderator. And thank you for WAPES and Perkeso for having me here today. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen. A very good morning. All right, so of course, we've gone through the topic a few times, so let me just skip this slide. But in case you're wondering why the why not there, that's a new branding that the university is using. Why not? Take up the challenges, right? So I think that's also suitable for this particular topic, since we're talking about why not the disadvantaged groups take up the challenges of using digital technology, which they are, to be fair, but we'd like to increase that uptake. Oops. Okay. Okay, sorry. So that's me, very quickly. So I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Computing and Digital Technology, as well as the Chairman of the Learning Technology Committee at the HELP University. All right, so we know very well that digital tools can significantly impact the lives of disadvantaged groups. Not just disadvantaged groups, of course, it impacts the lives of everyone, right? With digital tools these days, our productivity has increased, and we're able to do things that we never thought we would, right? For example, entire livelihoods now depend on digital technology. Things like social media, blogging, esports, right? These are all now careers that we never would have thought would have even come about those days. I used to think blogging would be putting your personal diaries online. That sounds like a really bad idea. Yet now that is your career line, right? So it's very different. And that allows any individual, especially when it comes to disadvantaged groups, to be able to stand on their own without leaving the confines of their own home or their own institutions and so on. So that really makes a difference. And by leveraging technology, we can help bridge the gap between the different groups to reduce this disparity, right? And that means increase inclusion as well as equality among the different groups. All right, so what I'm going to do is just look at the way digital tools can be used in different aspects, and then, of course, relate it back to how it can be used for disadvantaged groups, okay? So, for instance, in terms of education, right, especially when it comes to low-income students or low-income groups, people in remote areas, people with limited access to quality education, this kind of things, we can have digital tools such as e-learning, which is, again, very popular. You have ODL, Open and Distance Learning, and so on, which allows people to have access to education, to educational materials, immaterial of where they are, in a self-paced learning mode, which means, for instance, many of disadvantaged groups tend to have to work to make a living. So during office hours or during normal school hours, they'd be working, which means at night or at weekends and whenever they have time, they could actually pick up on their studies. Right? So this is something that definitely the facilities are already there, and pick up on this, of course, is very important. Okay? So there's a lot of flexibility in the schedules, right? And of course, the fact that they can study at their own pace. Yes, you may take 5 years to finish a degree program. That's okay. At least you get the education, you get the know-how, you get to improve your lives, right? So this is one thing that they do. Now, I've also given some examples because it says digital tools. So a few examples of tools that can be used, but of course, this list is of course not exhaustive, right? There's a huge, long list of free available tools, free courses, as well as paid courses online, which one can go to. All right. In terms of healthcare, again, as more and more people, shall we say, are falling into one of these groups, right? For instance, the aged population, right? Many people, especially the elderly, are living alone now. We don't have that huge family support that we used to have in those days. So all these kind of things, what we need is more help or more assistance through the electronic medium, through the digital tools, through the AI-assisted tools, and so on. Okay, so for instance, again here, I'm using remote areas, people with mobility issues, low-income populations, and so on. They can use digital tools, including things like telemedicine, in order to gain advice, to gain consultation of professionals which they would not be able to access otherwise, right? They may not be able to go into a big city to get the expert advice. So through telemedicine, for instance, they could do that, right? There are tools available that allows you to do symptom checking, right? To get health information. Not just doing their Google search and then getting scared, right? Because you might self-diagnose yourself into all kinds of worries. But I'm talking about actual more trustworthy tools that are available right now, AI-assisted tools that are available right now, that can give you more accurate information that could help you, right? So this kind of things can be used. And of course, other tools such as scheduling, reminders, very important. Again, take my parents as a simple example. They've got umpteen pills they have to take on a daily basis at different times, right? So having reminders through these tools helps the groups to make sure that they take the medications on time, that they seek the necessary support or assistance, medical assistance on time. There are tools that allow you to, for instance, CCTV, fall detection, which allows the alerts to the respective medical professionals if, let's say, the person falls down, right, or loses consciousness and so on. So again, all these tools are very useful. Very important topic these days, mental health, all right? So there are a lot of tools there now to help promote mental health. Allows you to go, get some relaxation, get some entertainment, and so on, right? Music and etc. So this would be particularly useful for individuals or groups that are experiencing mental health issues. Okay, again, useful for low-income populations, people in remote areas, and so on, where these tools can provide some guidance on the do's and don'ts. Like, for instance, you're feeling stressed, what to do? How can you relax, right? Including the don'ts, right? Provide online therapy sessions, again, with professionals, but remotely, right? Because usually our problem is, again, if you're having mental health, you're not exactly in the frame of mind to want to go travel certain distances to go see someone. You might not even feel comfortable with seeing someone. But digital tools allows us to break that barrier, and therefore you get the help that you need, right? Okay? For financial inclusion, right? So here we have groups that may not be able to open bank accounts, they may not have any credit facilities and so on. Well, digital tools can help them connect. For instance, crowdfunding, right? Those kind of things allows us to reach out to access information, to access resources that are available to get started, right? And again, nowadays, information on scholarships, information on funds that are available. We basically use digital tools to identify them, to identify collaborators, partners, sponsors, and so on. Okay? And here we've also mentioned things like getting microloans. Okay, then there's mobile banking. Again, very useful. Everyone's using it now, and I think the way it's going now, you're forced to use it because counter service has been cut down, right? So that's a tool that's useful for everyone. Again, especially for disadvantaged groups because they may have difficulty getting to a bank, right, or getting to the physical financial institutions. Okay, secure online transactions, microfinancing, and so on. All right, employment and skill development, again, very important. There are lots of certification programs out there, a lot of learning programs out there which can be used digitally. So again, this is very useful for unemployed individuals, especially people seeking to upskill themselves, right? AI, for instance, has completely changed the landscape. Those days, you needed to know something in computer science in order to use computers effectively. Nowadays, if you can construct a sentence in your own language, it doesn't even have to be in English, you can get information, right? Use ChatGPT, for instance. You could type it in Mandarin, for instance, and you get the answers. So everyone has access to it now. With this kind of tools available, it's no longer a barrier for disadvantaged groups to actually get the kind of information and help that they may want, right? So especially when it comes to learning up new skills, learning up AI. In AI kind of jobs, there are many. Data science type of jobs, there are many that are available. And these skills can be learned online, right? Because there are lots of introductory courses available for free online, which people can learn, pick up the skills, and move on. Right? So you'll notice now that many of the data scientists, for instance, were people who didn't really come from the computer science field, right? Because they managed to upskill. So again, this allows disadvantaged groups to take on this challenge. They didn't need to have the actual degree in that particular field. They could have easily taken up a course, started online, then maybe done some certification courses and move on. All right. Also, digital tools allows freelance jobs. So again, this gives a lot of opportunity for people to grow their potential incomes, right, or supplement their incomes. Accessibility, right? For instance, for those who are visually impaired, hearing impaired, and so on, digital tools come in useful. One of the favorite projects in many students, for final year project students, is to create this, let's say, the walking sticks for the visually impaired with sensors on them and some feedback, right, that tells you what kind of obstacles in front of you, whether it's safe to move forward, and so on. So these kind of things are, again, very useful, and they're basically digitally enhanced. Okay? Oops, sorry. Okay, in terms of communication, obviously the tools allows us to communicate. We're all using it, right? Communicating across distances is now not an issue. You have your FaceTime, your WhatsApp, your text messages, video messages, and so on, collaborative meetings. So this has come in very useful, and this allows communication and interpersonal connection immaterial of location. So isolated individuals are no longer isolated, right? So that makes a huge difference. And I've also put examples including migrants, refugees, and so on who want to connect back to their families. Okay. All right, next. Okay, digital tools for exploration and experimentation. There are a lot of virtual experiences nowadays. So I may not be able to go to, let's say, Antarctica. That does not mean I can't get a good feel, including immersive feel, of the place using, let's say, virtual reality or extended reality goggles and so on, right? So this allows people to reach out, gain experiences without being there. And that makes a difference. And especially for disadvantaged groups, they may not have an opportunity to do this, not just financial, let's say even mobility issues. Well, now with technology, we can do that. Right? We can at least give them that feel, that knowledge, that experience. Okay. This one, again, I have to bring ChatGPT into the picture. Creativity, innovation, and productivity. So productivity, yes, we know. Lots of digital tools out there. We get to speed our work up. We speed our daily chores out, right, using digital tools. So that's obvious. Innovation. I'm sure all of us have used ChatGPT, right? Anyone here would admit not using ChatGPT at all? I like asking students this. They won't put up their hands because the lecturers will scold them. But basically, generative AI allows that innovation. It allows creativity. So sometimes what we need is a spark. How to get that spark, right? We can use the digital tools to give us an idea. And from there, we take it on further, right? So I think digital tools are now very useful in terms of this. And again, this overcomes barriers of you having access to the actual reference materials in front of you. You don't need the physical books there anymore. You could use ChatGPT as a portal to consolidate, summarize the information that's there, and get ideas from there, right? So these are some of the examples of digital tools which allows these disadvantaged groups to take advantage without, facing the kind of restrictions or limitations they used to have. Okay, of course, for knowledge sharing. This particular one, I put that picture, that's taken from, I think, a YouTube video. This was on the bottle light. Okay, so examples where disadvantaged, let's say those without electricity supply. How can they get light into their dark houses and so on, right? This kind of things, there are tons of videos out there on YouTube, TikTok, and so on, that shows quick fixes, what you can do, right? And this, again, is easily accessible. It gives people ideas of how they could improve their situation with quick fixes. And I think this is very useful because it helps any group, really, but particularly disadvantaged group because they may not be able to afford to purchase or install actual commercial solutions, right? So they could always come up with these quick fixes to solve their daily problems. All right. Now, in addition to all that, before I end, we also have to talk about the issues, right? Digital tools are great, yes. Sorry, I'm an academic. I have to always talk about these kind of things. So yes, we use the digital tools, but there's always the warning that comes with it. Some of the issues that tend to happen would be, of course, plagiarism, dishonesty, people using the tools and then claiming that it was their own, right? So this is something that has to be overcome. The biggest problem we notice nowadays is insufficient effort or the lack of critical thinking. By using these tools, people have become so dependent on the tools that to the extent that they can't think anymore, right? This is a problem. I know teachers kept complaining to me. They said, we allow students to use calculators, and now they can't do maths. It's a fact, right? If the calculator shows 1 plus 1 is 3, chances are the student will say the answer is 3. Because they don't do the maths anymore, they just believe the calculator must be right. So this is something we have to be careful about, right? AI has this hallucination problem, partly because it may have had incorrect information, right, that was trained with, and so it comes up with things. But also the way I look at it, generative AI, as in from the name itself, it allows it to be creative. Generative AI can come up with art, for instance. So if you pick up a fiction book, a storybook, you don't expect it to be all facts. So similarly here, when you use generative AI, you should not expect everything that comes out of it is factual, because it has the license to be creative. So this is something that many students don't understand. They just take whatever that comes out of the machine and says, this must be the absolute truth. And that is an issue. Okay? So again, whichever groups that's using this have to pay attention to that. Then there's always, of course, the normal problem, privacy issues, scams, all this malicious intent and so on, where there's always people who can get hold of your digital data, and they can do bad things, and they can convince you. So you've seen, of course, the number of people who have been scammed, right, and the billions that have been lost to scams and so on because of digital tools, things that you would never have done before. I've known people who, they didn't even have an online banking account, but they got scammed enough to open an account, go make the withdrawals. They went to even EPF, did withdrawals, biometrics, and all that, and got scammed. Okay, so you have lots of these cases. Why? Because the digital tools made it too easy for this to happen, and then it also makes them practically untraceable. So it becomes an issue then. Yeah? You can't even catch them. So what I feel is we have to provide sufficient guidance and training to use the digital tools effectively. But of course, they are very, very useful, and it's something that we can't run away from. We will end up using more and more of these tools, including AI, as time goes on. It's just that it has to be used with care and with an ethical foundation to it. All right? So with that, okay. So it's a fact, digitization is part of the modern life. It can be used to improve productivity and innovation, so you can use it for creation. But you have to determine the security, privacy, and intellectual property issues, and of course, target ethical usage. Right? With that, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was a very interesting point of view, not only in terms of what everything is possible, but also for reminding us of these really new challenges. I mean, we never really thought about our services or about the tools that we are using as being too much creative, for example, or even hallucinating. I mean, this is really a new mindset that we have to develop when thinking about our users and about when designing the services for them. So thank you so much. And I am afraid that you will not escape, both of you, with this overview of the things. Now we will have to go to the details, because I already see that you caught the audience attention and they have a lot of questions online to see more in detail. But I would maybe first give a floor to those who dare to raise the hand and still not use the digital service but do it the old way. Thank you, Ms. I think that I will wait for the mic to arrive to you, because our speakers are really disciplined. I'm impressed. Thank you so much for keeping the time.
Thank you, Barbora, and thank you to both speakers for your knowledge and insights. Very good. Very exciting to learn from both of you, yeah? So I have a question. By the way, I'm Esther from Malaysia Aviation Group. Yeah. So by the way, I have a question for Professor Logesh, yeah? I actually love your last slide, issues, all the scam and whatnot. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. I have friends, CEO friends, technology, very savvy, and yet their account got hacked. Even my account got hacked, yeah? Now, Here's my question to you, Professor Logesh. What can the government or corporate or even school do to help the public to be more aware and more protected against all the scammers and that are getting more sophisticated thanks to generative AI?
All right, thank you so much for the question. All right, so that is a major issue, right? The thing is, there are different things that can be done, starting with, of course, advice, right? Which, again, banks and all are giving advice all the time. They keep telling you not to click things unnecessarily, right? Don't simply click links that come on your SMS and your emails and so on. So these are the obvious ones. However, we also have to remember the scammers are professionals, right? They are professional thieves, so to speak. They know and they understand how people work. And that's why so many people who are well-educated fall into all the scams, because they know how we think. And there's always this little bit of greed in us. So that tends to hook us. And once you're hooked, then you feel, okay, if I don't do this, I will lose, so I'll put in more, and that's how people lose millions even. So firstly, of course, the advice, right? And this goes across the board. That means government, agencies, institutions, and so on. We have to make people aware of the do's and don'ts. Sometimes people just don't realize. For example, in Telegram lately, I've been getting a lot of messages that says, hey, this is subsidized cash rebates, click on this link. But if you look at the URL, you'll find that if it was a government link, it should have been at least .gov.my, the domain. But no, this would be a .something else, something that's nothing to do with this country even. It might even be from a different country. So when you see things like that and you're aware of that, don't click it, right? Because you know very well there's something wrong. When you get phone calls, for instance, from international codes, it cannot possibly be for some local purpose. So you know that you should avoid them. So these are things that we know, but sometimes, again, we accidentally get stuck on this, right? So the thing to do is the avoidance at the first step itself. That's very important. Now, the other thing that can be done, and this one is where researchers and companies come in as well, is to now, especially with AI, there's a lot of tools that can be put in automatically. The same way emails a long time ago had spam filters. These spam filters have improved over time with AI. So similarly with scams, right? Things that come into us digitally, whether it's through websites, which again, there are filters for that, whether it's WhatsApp and so on, these AI filters can help at least reduce the amount of scam that slips through to us. I think this is something that will become more and more important as we go along, because scammers are getting smarter. It's like people create viruses, right? They get smarter, so you need to have updated antiviruses all the time. So similarly, we need to do something like that. I hope that answers the questions.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have one? Oh,
Hey.
right.
I'm Azirwan. I would like to ask Professor. I think I do understand, but it may actually go towards more, because you did mention about cybersecurity scams, so on and so forth. But from policy perspective, I want to hear the academician opinion on this. Of course, I think threats is very basically, we can't, I can say we can minimize, we can mitigate, but we cannot do absolute avoidance to that. Having that fact, the requirement on ISMS, ISO, and all those things, it costs money. And the public employment services is basically, I would say, is inclusion. If we actually impose that to companies, they can actually, increase the margin of profits. They can retain the profit, but all the costs will be passed to the third party. What's your opinion on this? I think because we've been talking about AI. I do understand AI. Yes, I do understand it's good, because then respected lady presented earlier, we need to do matching, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, maintaining the compliance cost is so high to the event that we may compromise on the development. What's your opinion on that?
Okay, this would be more of a personal opinion, yeah, because I do get worried as well. Many regulators, it's good they put in regulations, of course, to safeguard everyone. But somehow or other along the way, in order to do that, the cost increases, and quite dramatically, because then you have, in order to comply, you'll have to have certain courses, you'll have to have certain procedures in place, and then to make things worse, you'll have to renew that ever so often, right? So there is definitely a lot of associated costs. Now, here again, I feel that through digital technology, we could cut down on this cost by putting certain safeguards in place across the board. For instance, let's say we talk about scams and so on. Certain filters can be put in at the entry point itself. That means at the gateways of the ISPs, the internet service providers. That way, we don't have to worry about, at least in the individual companies or the individuals, don't have to worry so much about putting additional safeguards in place, because a lot of this is done automatically and done at the remote site itself. Right? So this is one thing that can be done. With regards to the costs in terms of what regulators put in, that is something that has to be taken at a different forum, I suppose. It's definitely something that I can't comment on. But I feel that at least using some of the automated technology, we can do a certain part in compliance in order to safeguard ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see another brave hand.
Okay, good morning. I'm Po Yi here. I a bit impressed with the initiative and also the activities recommended by both speakers just now. Okay, I have this question to both speakers as well, because I wish to know the strategies or initiative or any plan that is going to launch or maybe have been done earlier to how to improve the motivation, the proactiveness, and also maybe the commitment of the people that we wish to help. Because, example, we have e-learning platform. We have a lot of the efforts from government. We have a lot of efforts from the maybe the agencies or associations whatsoever. But somehow, people are willing to help you. But if you yourself do not have the motivation, do not have the proactiveness, how it can be done? Yep. So the project won't be successful. So I wish to know, maybe from different country, maybe you have different initiative plans or activities. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Maybe we'll let the floor first to Ms. Hang.
Thank you for the question. Actually, this is a very good one, because like when, yes, a lot of effort from the government, from us at the public institute, but if the, the disadvantaged group themselves don't participate in, or even from the employers concept doesn't want to involve in the project, will not be successful. First one is, that's why yesterday the topic was about the digital literacy. I think this is very important, because all of us, especially the disadvantaged group, they need to understand, because this is the fundamental skills to make them understand and also give the self-confidence. Because when we are like in the lower, it is not saying the lower level, but when we have something that a bit under, like not more people, like people with disabilities, something like that, when we are in this stage of life, so we feel lack of confidence, and also in the social mindset from the employers, companies that don't accept to some field, to some occupation. So lack of self-confidence is also the major concern. So the digital literacy program training for them is a must. When they have this knowledge or competency, so they can effectively participate in all the digital platforms. And also, government themselves, from the point of view, want to collaborate with all the, sectors, all the field related with the employers, companies, and the disadvantaged group themselves, all together participate to launch the project successfully. Cannot be only one-sided. Yes.
Indeed.
I hope I answer your question. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe, Professor, if you have something to add.
Sure. Okay, so it is quite common, of course, to expect that disadvantaged groups are very apprehensive of learning something that sounds technical, sounds difficult, right? But then again, this is where, again, I like to bring AI into the picture, because nowadays, you do not need to be an expert. Nowadays, actually, the learning curve to pick up on at least some of these tools is quite easy, because you can converse with the machine easily enough using natural language, spoken language, right? And that many tools are there that's easy to use. That means they have a easy to use user interface. It connects up. So basically, by just typing a few things, customizing a few things, you get a lot done, right? For instance, if you want to have a web presence, those days you really needed to know how to code in HTML. Now, no one even hears of HTML anymore. Why? Because even if you create a Word document, you can convert it into a web page. It's that straightforward now, right? So I think introducing them into, or showing them how easy it is to use, would motivate them to use it. Because typically, I know for a fact that many people, they look at it, oh, computers, sorry, I don't know anything about computers. But the same people now are using smartphones. And they forget the smartphones are more powerful than many of the computers we used to have, right? So they actually have started having access to it. They've actually been using it, but haven't gotten over that mental block of, I cannot do. So now showing them how easy it is to get them on board to these things, and of course how it can benefit them, especially when it comes to, let's say, supplementary income and so on, I think that would motivate them a lot. In the university side, what we try to do is when we try to do digital awareness to remote areas, to the underprivileged, we tend to send our students to do it. Because then people relate to the students better, rather than some white hair guys coming and telling you something. We send students in. Many of these people, especially the younger generation, they're more accepting towards a student coming and showing them, working with them to get things done. So that's one of the ways that we go about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's true that here in the room, we sometimes may tend to forget how privileged we are when we are able to use all these tools which are now available, and that it's not the case for everyone. I mean, even me sometimes I struggle. Who doesn't, please? You don't need to raise the hand. Okay, but what you need to raise the hand is when you want to ask another question, maybe. Or should I pick one from the digital ones? I would maybe then have a look at. I was very much interested, and this is a bit a summary of the questions about the work with the employers. How you are working with the employers to convince them to have the services. How do you maybe assess the quality of their offers, and how do you tailor the services for the employers when they are wanting to use your services, digital ones? Is there an easy answer to that, or a difficult one? Because that was one of the questions. Then another question maybe is about the disadvantaged students who have a unique learning styles. If there is the way how to personalize the learning experience for them and address the learning gaps so that the disadvantaged students have the full potential.
Okay, thank you for the question. I answer to the first question. It is about the employers, how to make them accept to the disadvantaged people. This one, you know, that we are working nowadays also in Cambodia because we need to have we recommend to do the workshop or like conference to open the mindset of the employer to make sure that everyone equally treated at the workplace. And some disability people, you know, they are qualified. They can study, they can work as normal, as like us. But the thing is that they don't get the opportunity that we have. That's what we should find a way to sort out. And right now, many companies try open this opportunity to them. And how to convince, I think that as the employer, they can help provide a digital training program to them, explain them how to use even create the accounts, online job search, email, any important digital skill that they need to work, problem solving, soft skill, etc. And one more thing is that employer should do is to give them the flexible schedule, working schedule, because they are not like us. So to be flexible for them and give them the privilege to something that they can work from home or they can work as when they feel comfortable with. I think it's a good idea to the employers. And also the employers should have the cooperation with the educational training, education institute to provide or to give them the more knowledge about the jobs themselves. Yes. And for the second question is
the disadvantaged students or maybe
yes,
early
yes.
school leavers. This is
yes,
also
yes.
a very
okay,
important
thank you.
group.
Disadvantaged student, you know, disadvantage, sometimes they are different kind of disadvantage on the body. So they need a special tool to learn, not like us. Chat gets you know, audio reading, screen, touch to read books, something like that. Especially they have special tool for hearing, seeing, and walking, something like that. But we are now in Cambodia, NDA, National Employment Agency, is trying to work with the NGO organization to provide a special tool, yes, for that, because this help them with learning. They cannot use as normal. Yes.
Thank you so much for raising this important point of using as well the partnerships to partner with the organizations or with the providers who are able to do the things which PES as public employment services cannot do on their own. This cooperation is a very important point, and it's true that we were not mentioning it here now. So thank you for that, and maybe
They're basically very similar answers, but maybe I just add on a little on this personalized learning part. Because nowadays, if you go to any of these learning management systems, they can customize, again, it's usually AI-based. It customizes the questions, the challenges, the difficulty levels based on the performance of the learner. Which means if a person seems to be doing well, you know, let's say you give them a quiz, they perform very well, you can then move on to the more difficult questions. But if it notices that the performance was not good, certain concepts were not understood properly, then it gives you more trial questions on the same concept, so until you strengthen your understanding of it. So that's something that already is done by the platforms, right? So AI-based platforms can do that. And I think that helps a lot when it comes to disadvantaged students who might study in a different mode or slower, self-paced, and so on. Right? Thank you.
thank you. Do we have some more questions, or should I dig in my magical box here? Because we have some more questions about the use of the digital tools and specifically artificial intelligence as well, both regarding the job seekers or workers or the students. I'm again merging at least two questions together. and how we make sure that we are not underusing their own capacity, and that they as well are somehow steered to use their own thoughts, and how we are making sure that their learning assignments or working assignments are not improperly influenced by the artificial intelligence.
Okay, let me answer
you
that.
Want to start, I see.
Yeah. I mean, this is a very hot topic, right? Especially if you take it to any academic institution, schools especially, this is a major topic, because nowadays when you ask a student to, let's say, submit a report, more often than not, you're actually marking ChatGPT rather than marking the student's work, right? So this is a known problem. So when I talk to principals of schools, when I do teacher training and so on, one of the things I do let the teachers know would be that you can't really turn around and say, do not use these AI tools. It's not realistic. It's like basically saying you cannot use a calculator anymore, right? Or you cannot use Google search engine anymore. This is the way of life. And it will only become more apparent as we move along, because more and more things will have AI. After all, even children's toys now have AI in it, right? So we can't run away from it. So what we need to do then is work together with it, right? Understand that this is how information is now obtained. Use the example ChatGPT as a portal, like a search engine. It's a very quick way of summarizing information. So in a search engine, you type some keywords, it gives you, pages and pages of, links to different pages of where that keyword appeared. But when you use things like ChatGPT, it consolidates the information into one article, shall we say. So that's good for learning, right? Now, the issue then would be, as the assessors or as the academics or teachers, we want to also make sure that the student actually underwent the learning process, right? Because ultimately, that's what we care about. It's not so much the report, it's whether the student learned something out of it. So one of the suggestions I gave the teachers was that give them an assignment, let them take it home, encourage them to use the AI tools, okay? Let them come up with all that information, as I said, as a fact-finding kind of thing. Let them look at the ChatGPT report and learn from it. Then the next day when they come back to school, give them an assignment that's related to it, but not that exact one. That means you do not want them to submit the ChatGPT report, but now rewrite based on certain facts that that report would have generated. So that way, the learning goes on. Ultimately, what we need to do is test the learning outcomes, whether the learning outcomes were achieved. And that's something we can still do. No one said we had to use a report to test the learning outcome. So if we modify the way we look at it, and that's what we have to do, we have to adapt with the technology. We've got to just change our view of how we assess this, and therefore make sure that students go through that learning process, right? Learn from the different tools, learn from the different resources that are available, and then make sure, of course, that the learning happens. So learn from it, and then we test to make sure that they have learned it. I think that's the way we go about it nowadays, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any similar approach maybe in the public information services about how to address the AI and the job seeker with disadvantage?
Yeah, actually, we don't applicable like AI much, but I agree with what he raised. And to some extent, we just need, it is correct that we cannot run away from the AI, because since the technology improve, this is what we need to cope with to get along. So what we can do is go with it, but try to control, because it is have pro and con as well. Since it is a lot of more benefit, but at the same time, if we overuse or use in the inappropriate way, it can cause the consequences. So learn to control and manage.
So you
yes.
teach them as well to learn the limits, because with a perfect CV that an AI can create, for example.
Yes, yeah. But when we interview in person, it's something else, like perfect letters, but actually they cannot do it.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. So they need to be made aware about these dangers. That's a very, very interesting point. Thank you very much. We have some more questions. We have 2 minutes remaining, if I'm sticking to the time. So maybe If not, there was still one, and it was about the mobility centers, which caught a lot of attention in the digital questions about their sustainability, about the way how you make sure that the effect is running, and how you make these centers available for the disadvantaged groups in the remote areas.
Okay, thank you for the interesting question. Mobile job centers, actually, I see the online question they're asking about also the schedule, or how they make sure it is successful reach to the disadvantaged group. Actually, we have, for job centers, not only mobile job centers, we have a schedule to interview, to do the job forums, and especially for mobile job center, for the whole week, for the whole month, we have scheduled to go to the universities, to companies, to rural area, to the province. We have the schedule, so it's not how often, but during a month or a week that we have to go to reach them. And like I said, like I mentioned in the slide, we bring the service to the door at the front door for the job seekers, so that they can have the vacancy information, labor market information. We also can teach them at the same time when we meet them how to be ready for the job in a specific case like them, like the skill they need and how the behavior to the employers themselves. Write a CV and everything to them. Yes.
Thank you very much. Is there still one last question in the last minute? Otherwise, we are really on such a perfect timing. But Miss Esther. But you have no mic, no functioning mic. Maybe that's a sign from a subtle message.
Hi, me again. Yeah, start and end. Right, I shall end with, I'm going to read your name, yeah? I'm sorry, ma'am. Miss Sereyvorlak Hang. Yes, so I love what you're doing with the groups in Cambodia, what you are doing to provide job opportunities to your disadvantaged groups and whatnot. Now, I'm asking from the perspective of an employer, yeah? If, let's say, I would like to explore hiring Cambodians, especially cabin crews, for my organization, would I be able to use any digital tool to, reach out to all these potential candidates?
Yes, thank you for the question. I do the presentation. Actually, we have all the digital tool or platform that they can submit online and directly to the employer, to the company, that can see what the CV or everything that they looking for the job offer. And
my next question is, are there any plans to help your countrymen to find jobs outside your country?
Outside the country, for job, it is related to the Department of Labor. It is, NDA, actually the Public Employment Service, National Employment Agency that I am in charge. We do control only in the local employment, but for the data of the employees that work abroad, international workers that go abroad, that we don't have the data for that. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
That's all from me. Thank you.
So I am obliged to close the session now. I see that we have a lot of interest, and I'm very happy that it's always so great to see such a lively exchange in the conference. So thank you very much, Ms. Han, Mr. Logeswaran. And I will now pass the floor to the more skilled moderator than me.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much once again to our moderator and distinguished speakers for the first session this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to present a token of appreciation to our speakers. To help us with this, I would like to invite Mr. Sereyvorlak Hang, Head of Office of the Employment Insurance System Progress Malaysia, to join us stage to present the token of appreciation, please. Firstly, please welcome Ms. Barbora Novotna Svojse, our moderator for the session. Our first speaker, Ms. Sereyvorlak Hang. First speaker, yes, Ms. Sereyvorlak Hang. Last but not least, to our major professor, Dr. R. Logeswaran. Let all of them be on the stage for a while to allow the photographer to take some photos, please. Mr. Sereyvorlak, please stay.